Hey guys, and welcome to the Invar Technologies Podcast, a podcast where we interview top level executives inside leading and growing companies in the manufacturing and industry of engineering. Excited to have our guest, Jason Lamb, IT manager for Middough. We're going to dig deep into a little bit about the industry of the engineering industry, as well as get some insights into Jason as well. So, Jason, did you want to maybe kick it off for us and give us a quick snippet into who you are and a little bit about how you got into the industry?
Sure. So I started out in IT in the Army. Was in for 6 years. Got into corporate IT after that. Was moved a couple different companies, and then got into MSP. I was able to then expand on multiple different industries and verticals that way too. And then so now I'm at an engineering firm here in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been doing this for 15 years in the corporate and 6 years prior to that in the Army. Love what I do, and always always expanding.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. An army guy. I like it. I like it. Perfect. So 15 years you've been doing this. What did is it something that you felt you knew that you left school or left army, should I say, and you immediately went into this industry? Is it something that you've always wanted to do, or something that just kind of just flew in?
Sure. I think actually when I was in high school, I was looking at going into law. Um, I did a lot of extracurricular stuff that was law based, legal. I went to the Army recruiter and said, "Hey, I want to go into." At the time, the show Jag was popular. I was like, "I want to go into Jag. I want to get into Army and go into law." Right? They said, "Well, we don't have a position available for like 2 years. So, but we do have, what else do you want?" I said, "Well, I like computers." "Oh, great. We have lots of stuff computers." So um, they showed me, this job description which mentioned a computer, right? So I guess it matched their thing. And so we go to AIT. At the time, it's 31 Fox or 25 Fox. It was Network Switching Systems Operator Maintainer is the full term, where you do sit in front of a computer, and it was a Unix-based computer with a couple of graphics that basically said, "Oh, this link is good and this link is bad." So that was my computer job. Uh, I realized after the fact, and while I was in, I got plugged into doing my own website and doing other IT support for friends and family. Afterwards, I transitioned that into the corporate world. Got some certifications, got my degree while I was working. Got lucky enough to work for a guy who was a prior Navy vet. His whole family was military, so he's like, "Oh, I'll give this guy a shot." I had no civilian education or civilian equivalent of education certifications, right? The Army doesn't do that. Um, so I got a lucky shot and got put into corporate IT job right after the Army, and yeah, I'd say the rest is history. It just kind of upwards from there.
Great stuff. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It sounds like an incredible journey. And at the end of the day, as well, I think you chose the right industry based on where the wind is blowing these days. IT is
I
massive.
think so.
Yeah, perfect. I guess I'd love to learn a bit more about, what you're passionate about in terms of this industry. What is, in your opinion, the most passionate thing about this industry that excites you every day?
I think security is huge. I think user education. Um, I do part of my job here. I do all the onboarding of the new hires. I try to stress uh, passwords, security. Um, I think that's no, I think the biggest attack vector for us, and really almost any company, is the users. Right? The user gets a bad email, they make it looks really good. I just lost light. 2 seconds. Sorry. We have the active motion thing, so it's gonna hopefully it doesn't do it again. Sorry. Um, oh, sorry. user education, um, getting them to understand um, that your password, and we have multiple passwords here, that they're pretty important to make sure that they're secure. If you don't have a password manager, use one, right? I recommend one, but you know, people don't do that. People set the same password on multiple things. They have the same email, and become a large service for attack. Just basically an easy target.
Perfect.
So we do a lot of times when we look here, we need to focus on, um, expanding on features and, oh, let's bring on this next new thing. But how does that impact, what is the baseline of security? How does that impact our security posture? Right? Where are the impacts there?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Let's kick it off. As I feel like we've learned quite a good amount of who you are, and of course, there's still lots that's not uncovered in this at the moment. But let's quickly, if you can tell us about your core value or service offering at Middough.
Sure. So we are a full stack engineering firm. We um, we offer all disciplines of engineering. We are a service provider, so generally, a company is hiring us to bring on engineering needs from, say, a new factory or a new component inside the factory. We'll work with the vendor to get their specs for the device or the component if they're adding on to their factory. We'll come out and do inspections and scans of the facility. We can do inspections even if we haven't done work for you. We can just do an inspection and find out, recommend fixes. We can do. We have a team that takes drones up and does scans, aerial scans, and inside building scans. Um, and every discipline we have, and we are on multiple we have cities around the country, and we're able to offer pretty much any discipline of engineering that a client would need.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Tell me a little bit about where you see the engineering space going. What sort of wind is blowing in terms of the trends and within your industry of engineering, but also within what you're currently focusing on, your IT around the business.
We're looking at AI in with Microsoft. We're looking at AI with Autodesk. Everybody who's trying to sell a product has some form of AI, right? I'm personally even testing, say, ChatGPT and Copilot Pro just to see how I can, um, pull in different aspects of documents to connect all the dots. And so that is where we are looking to see how it can help us uh, enhance our everyday life. Um, yeah,
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And yes, as you mentioned, AI. I mean, it's a big topic, but I think it can be
sure.
utilized correctly. It can really be efficient. So I actually had a podcast interview yesterday, and the one gentleman said that it's kind of like you feeding the belly, the big beast, with within your space. But okay, cool, perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Let's quickly talk about some, moving forward within challenges and some solutions, if we could. What are some of the key challenges that you're facing in terms of the engineering environment or space?
Challenges. I think um, looking at um, there's so many different products that can do different things. Um, Specifically, when we're a service um, company servicing multiple different clients, looking at the different products that can do similar things and where do we focus our efforts? Do we need to um, be able to utilize and know every single CAD software, right? Do we look at one specific software? And then you have different softwares that are being acquired by other softwares, right? So you have different bigger players that are, uh, you know, acquiring and maybe morphing that into something they have or completely getting away with it, right? So part of that is keeping up to speed with the updates on the software we have, and then determining whether we need um, that software as well. Do we need to bring on, if a client's requirement is an older version, do we bring on that job, or do we pass it so we can use our, not have to maintain that older version of software? So we have to maintain licensing and cost of that too. So being able to be in the middle ground of we're not the biggest player, but we're also not the small time guy either. We're in a very happy middle ground of where we like to focus our efforts. But that means that um, we have a lot of different software and licensing to maintain. So from IT's perspective, for this company and for engineering, yeah, we have to maintain a lot of connections to vendors for um, software and licensing and different versions and all that stuff. That's one of our biggest challenges.
Perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Can you talk us through a little bit about any specific innovations that your company has implemented recently?
The innovations, um, we are we're big into bringing on drones, right? So we love bringing in drones into the environment, right? We can get a much bigger picture and help our engineers um, take that drone footage, or even not even a drone, but say taking camera footage into an environment, taking that to use to help the engineers build the 3D environment around that, being able to get measurements off of different pieces and pipes and electrical. If you can have the visual representation of not being there, because we can't just send our whole team out to your site, but we can get video and capture pictures and drone to put that all together into one package that takes it to the architects and the designers and the engineers to build and do the engineering thing that they do. That I'm not an engineer, but figure out all the specs for the thing that we're trying to engineer. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
big on getting the cameras in there, getting inspections, getting the drones, um, using software that can build that real world um, or a graphical 3D space and make it not look like a 3D drawing, but actually like it belongs in your space. And so if you can visualize that, then you can see, okay, here's the thing I need here, and wow, this is what it would look like once it's all done.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And let's transition again. If you could tell us a little bit about your IT infrastructure within the company. So, all your IT, is it run primarily in-house, or are you currently outsourcing that to MSPs or other organizations? You don't have to mention who, just, just wanted to see.
Sure. So we have 8 offices um, between Buffalo and Madison and down to Ashland. We manage everything in house. We have a team of um, 8 plus a director. We have um, we do have connections to MSPs for our SOC for some things that we want to outsource for. Um, well, we're not 24/7 support, so I need to have um, some monitoring that happens for things that are happening out there after hours and be able to take action on it. Also, we have a MSP that manages our antivirus as well, so our endpoint protection. Uh, that and some patching. But other than that, everything else is done in house. We have 2 teams. We have an operations team and a network team. I manage the operations team, and the network team is touching all of the infrastructure, the servers, the switches, the routers, and then our intra office.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. I want to quickly talk to you a little bit about, sustainability and compliance within the organization. How important is sustainability, in your opinion, in the engineering environment?
So we are looking right now at um, I can't quote the ISO number off the top of my head, but getting compliant for you have some clients that are going to be start requesting or requiring that. We have audits that come up for security. Hey, are you doing MFA on all your users? Are you using MFA for your server logins? Are you what is your password policy? Um, so we need to look at that requirement for to be to be compliant. To be hey, here's our certification because we are compliant in this, and here's our proof, right? Um, a lot of companies go through the process but don't actually pay the money to get compliant. Well, how do you prove that, right? That cert means things, right? It's certified by an organization that certifies that. How do you know that you have a degree if you're a doctor if you never got your doctorate? Same thing, right? Um, and sustainability. What do you mean by sustainability? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, we live in a world where sustainable practices is extremely important to maintain wastage and more specifically in the manufacturing environment. But I feel like with the engineering environment as well, to a specific factor, there is some key elements of maintaining a sustainable evidence to how you run your IT, how you run. I mean, it can be cost sustainability. It could be, just running too many data things, which is drawing up a lot of electricity. So you don't have to necessarily mention about how you're currently running those sustainable practices in your environment, but if I kind of wanted to get your opinion on how you feel it's important and how it can potentially improve or decrease the engineering space. But I think you basically
Sure.
chopped on that, so I appreciate that. But you're welcome to add some more
Yeah.
if you have.
No, I think in a digital age, right, paper is should be a thing of the past. There, faxing and things that you carry on going forward don't need to happen, right? And then obviously disposal of any equipment, right? So if you're working at IT equipment or anything that we utilize, we want to make sure that when we dispose of it, that is going to a certified non 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 landfill location or organization that will get us a certification that, hey, we will dispose of it, we'll recycle it, we'll use what we can, and everything else is going to be recycled appropriately, responsibly. And so yeah, we're not filling up landfills. We go through a lot of computers, uh, servers and switches, all things, right? Um, but as far as the engineers and with data, we're storing a lot of data. We need to make sure that we have a policy to not have to have a large amount of hard drives, that we're able to outsource that and use deduplication and maintain our data policy. And then, of course, paper, we shouldn't be using a whole lot of paper, minus the drawings and stuff that they have to print out. But for the most part, digital is the way to go.
Good stuff. I fully agree with you. Wonderful. Thank you very much. And that's another thing that I feel like the technical environment has played such a big factor in the sustainable environment, just due to the fact that, like you mentioned, paper, something simple, but it's quite big when it comes to saving costs and the environment as well. Perfect. So let's quickly talk about customer focus, right? Which is, of course, a big thing with every company. And I'm sure customer service and satisfaction is massive for you as well, within your field and within the company overall. How do you ensure customer feedback is incorporated into your engineering processes?
Sure. So we need to ask, once we're done with a job, right? We need to loop back and ask, um, a survey. How did we perform? Did we perform up to your expectations? Um, if they're willing to give feedback on how we can make it better. A lot of our clients are repeating clients. We have jobs that we have for years. We have uh, multiple jobs that carry on for years. We also have reoccurring clients that come back for more jobs because we've outperformed their expectations, or met or outperformed their expectations. So therefore, they're coming back to us um, for more work. Um, so I think having a having a feedback loop on asking uh, what their opinion on the service we provided and how can we make that better going forward. Um, Obviously, if you burn a bridge, you don't want to you want to understand why.
Perfect. So now that we have, touch bases on a little bit about you, Jason, and the company and a bit of values and some challenges and your sustainability and compliance as well, and of course, the customer focus. Could you possibly share with us some insights into we want to have a look at your future outlook, right? What do you see as the future for Middough in terms of your innovation with your IT infrastructures?
So I would like to see, um, as we grow, right? We need to, as with any IT, you want to be smart with your hiring. Right? You want to grow the department appropriately for the size of the company. But you also need to utilize tools effectively, right? So we should be able to use the tools we have to make us a more productive department while not have to worry about expanding the team right away. Right? Once there's a need, yes, we start looking at expanding the team, but we also need to look at using our tools most effectively. So what does the future look like? You know, we brought on a ticketing system a short while ago, so we make sure we're utilizing the ticketing system. That's also user user
Perfect.
teaching user how to use a ticketing system they never had to do it before, right? So if we can organize our tickets and our agenda around escalating tickets and priority, then it makes us a better department
100%.
overall. Uh, so yeah, then utilizing if we have a license, say for Office, then make sure we're utilizing all the aspects of Office and make sure the users are educated on what they can utilize inside the programs that they have available to them. So I guess future for us would be better user education.
Better user education. I like that. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And what are some of the key lessons that you've learned in your career that you'd like to share with our listeners today, Jason?
One main lesson that I've learned, I've tried to pass this down to all the people whom have reported me or have shared in different interviews and things. I put most people in a quadrant. Um, if you look laterally, you have I am very intelligent and I know a lot, or I don't know a whole lot, right? And then vertically on your x-axis, or I'm sorry, your y-axis, you I want to know more, or on the bottom, I don't want to know anything more, right? So if you have uh, a certain person who is at a certain level of the company, they might not know a whole lot, and they also don't want to know more. They just want you to come and assist, right? But if you have somebody else who doesn't know a whole lot, but they're so hungry to learn more, right? I will sit there and teach a fisherman how to fish all day long, right? If you want to know, I will teach you and help you to do better next time, right? But it's the people who are harder to work with they think they know or they might know, but they don't want to know more, right? It's a harder subset of people to work with. But if you can capture or learn about that person and where they're at on that spectrum, then it makes your job easier when dealing with them when you're working with, a customer facing thing, right? My department is a service organization for the organization, right? My customers are the employees. If I'm an MSP, my customers are the other companies that are employing me to do their IT. So understanding where a person is on that spectrum of what do you know, what don't you know, and do you want to know more or do you not care? I can come in and fix your issue and not care how I did it if that's what you want. Or I can help you next time this comes up to possibly do things on your own.
Perfect. I like that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Jason. So it's been an absolute pleasure. I feel like we've learned so much from you and wonderful insights, and really do appreciate everything. Now, I'm sure there's lots more that people will have some questions and things. So I guess I'd love to, in closing, is there anything else that you would like to add or any final thoughts for the audience?
Sure. So I would say, I get a question of all the time of, hey, I'm wanting to get into IT. Where should I start? Um, over the course of time, I've learned that if you're just starting out your career, uh, focus more on getting into an MSP or some type of consulting role. You'll be able to do a lot more in a lot less time than working for an internal organization, right? Um, so that is where I was able to pick up a lot more um, experience than working for an internal department. Now I know I do that now, but I've over the course of 15 years, I've what I've learned is that if you can get into helping more people, doing more things with more people more often, that's where you're going to grow your skills. You're going to be able to do migrations and user support and things that you don't see time and time in and time out. Um, don't focus on your certs and or your college as much as you want to get experience in the industry. That is key. And in your playtime, listen to technical podcasts, learn things that keep you grounded on what's happening around you. Um, you'll be a much more well-rounded IT individual.
Beautiful. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate your time again, Jason. And, one last thing, if you wouldn't mind just telling our viewers, where they could reach you if they wanted to make contact with you or get to, you know, understand the service offerings from Midough's side. How can they
Sure.
contact you?
So if it's professionally and if it's Middough, Middough.com is Middough. I'm my name, Jason Lamb, at LinkedIn, and pretty much anywhere on the web uh, is Jason Racer is the username that pretty much will find me at any place and time. Uh, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to find me.
Wonderful. Where does the racing coming,
What is what?
Jason? the, is it, did you say
Oh,
racing?
sorry. It, so it's spelled Jasrasr. It is a play on words. It's a nickname that my dad gave me when I was young doing Boy Scouts. We were doing the Pine Derby and we put the Jason Racer name. And I, back in the early days of AOL, that was my first nickname and it stuck ever since.
I love that. Great stuff. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And it was quite insightful. Well, it was an absolute pleasure. Everyone, we ask that you please like, share, and subscribe. I'll put in the details on how to contact Jason or if you want to find out a bit more about the service offering at Middough. And again, thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful, wonderful pleasure.
Thank you.